Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Allie over here in the Scottsdale office. So it's morning for us, but afternoon for a lot of you. So just have a heavy day, I guess. We're so lucky to have Carolyn Burgess on the line. She's going to go over a bit of the kind of the back office benefits that MoneyGuard has that I think not everyone is aware of, and we're hoping that it will help you while you're talking through MoneyGuard with your clients and working through the back end, and also the families of your clients that may need to also be aware of all these benefits. Carolyn is the MoneyGuard Regional Marketing Director, and we're really excited to have her partnering with us because she's very enthusiastic about this product and she's very knowledgeable, so she's a great resource. Without further ado, I will just make a little housekeeping note. If you have questions, please type them in, and I will make sure to get to them at the end. We want to make sure we give Carolyn enough time to talk today. So go ahead, Carolyn. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Good morning. I am in hot, toasty Arizona, sitting in the core group office, and excited to be here. I am fairly new to Lincoln MoneyGuard. Last couple months, I've actually worked in known core group prior. I was at One America. I've been in the industry for 22 years and made the decision from a professional standpoint to move to Lincoln and represent the MoneyGuard product for a lot of reasons. But one of the topics that we're going to go through today and talk a little bit about the product, the strength of Lincoln and the strength of MoneyGuard. You know, after the industry and the ups and downs we've been in the traditional world, I started in 1997 when there were over 100 carriers and hybrids were around, but not really top of mind, not something that was being used as a planning tool to help clients prepare for long-term care and extended healthcare need. So as I go through today, we're going to talk about the back end side, the reason that we write these contracts and talk to our clients about putting a plan of care or how we're going to fund if there's an extended healthcare event. Talk about some of the tools and resources. I know that Allie had included in the invitation, products, features. We've talked about the strength of our contracts. I'll talk a little bit about underwriting, and then I'm going to give you a demo on our Silver Brick Road, which is a claims portal or tool for clients that when they purchase a Lincoln MoneyGuard contract, they receive a subscription or a membership. So I'm just going to walk you through how it works. It's a fantastic tool. It seems to be known a little bit, but it's a resource. It really takes claims concierge to the next level. So we're going to go over real quick on a high level just our claims process. We have a solid team. One of the things that impressed me most when I was making the decision to join Lincoln was how the claims were handled. I wrote my first contract on my granddad in 1997, who ended up on claim for 9 years. That was after 4 rate increases, traditional long-term care, and it seemed like the notices came every November 1st, right before I saw him for Thanksgiving. So to see a contract actually pay out and how it changed our lives really was great for me professionally. Just to be able to share the story with you, to share the story with clients, is long-term care planning really does work. And we're selling something that's not tangible, a piece of paper that is a promise to pay claims. Us being able to pay claims down the road is a primary route of me moving over. Our claims concierge coordination service and website called Silver Brick Road, I kind of equate it to the Wizard of Oz, the yellow brick road, allows families to communicate and network and go over information, ask each other for care, post updates on how mom or dad's doing. You'll see that in just a moment. The average, right now, the number of years in claims, the average is 8 years. Now I want to set some parameters around that. 8 years of a claim, that's open to shut. And, I know, One America, we have lifetime benefits. At Lincoln, we have a 7-year plan. I think one of the things we have to really work on doing in this industry is changing the way we talk about the pool of money that we're developing. So we're creating a bucket of money that's tax efficient for long-term care down the road, not a duration. People get hung up on, well, it's only 4 years or it's only 6 years. We're creating a bucket of money, and based on how much you put into it, is going to help you insure the risk or cover the risk. So right now, the average number of claim years is 8, but it starts out progressionally. So if you think about Home health care, you don't all of a sudden need 24-hour home health care. Typically, it may be 2 or 3 days a week that you have somebody come in and help out getting mom or dad shower, bathed, so you can go out, or husband. The average Alzheimer's claim is what skews things, and that right now is running 8 to 10 years. So men, women, if you go to Google and you say, what's the average claim, it kind of irritates me because it's going to say 2.2 years for men and 3.3 for women. That's the average nursing home stay. And if we're doing anything by putting a plan in place, we're creating an anti-nursing home plan. Home health care, assisted living, adult daycare, nursing home, all covered, but most clients want to age in place. We are paying 98% of our claims within 3 days. We have a claims concierge. It's not just an 800 number that you dial and they ship out some paperwork. We have an intake process. You're assigned a case manager who's going to be dedicated. Within 5 days of receiving the initial claim, I'll show you how to file the I-claim to start the process. We'll get the additional information. Once it's set up, we're able to send out the bills directly or send out the payment directly to the care provider. So while we are a reimbursement contract, and I'm hearing that quite frequently, there's some great competition out there. You know, indemnity, my clients want indemnity. I love the thought of reimbursement, and I'll go into that in a second on the why behind reimbursement and why I think it's important. But we're really trying to streamline this. You know, when a family member, a loved one needs care, the last thing we do is have extra minutes in our day to be able to deal with an insurance company and the paperwork. So how we streamline the process through the claims concierge and care coordination benefits, fantastic. Silver Brick Road is icing on the cake. Lincoln is the only carrier in the industry that offers Silver Brick Road at the time that somebody purchases the policy. And I think once you see the power behind it, it's not just for the person or the insured. It can be to help even with loved ones, family members, parents that might need to begin care. Claims forms, I'm going to show you where claim forms are on Silver Brick Road, and then reimbursements. We talked about we pay 98% of our claims within 3 days. Covered expenses to trigger benefits, 2 out of 6 activities of daily living with the expectation to last 90 days. We will EFT the reimbursement payment to the provider or to the insured, and we do an annual claim recertification, which is standard on qualified long-term care plans. If for some reason, let me go back here, if for some reason we decline a claim, and it does happen. I've worked at a couple different carriers, I've been a producer, and you get a phone call from a client saying, Mom's starting to need some help. Well, she might need help getting in and out of the bathtub and balancing her checkbook, but she doesn't quite meet 2 out of the 6 activities of daily living. We can start that process, but it's usually a pretty quick turnaround that they go from needing help with 1 thing to needing help with 2 things. So we'll get the process, the paperwork is in. If there's an appeal that needs to be filed, we have a process for that. We're not going to go through all the nooks and crannies today on exactly what to do in an appeal, but if you need help or have questions on getting the claims process started, please feel free to contact me or my internal Dan Smith. Core Group is my actually largest account and key account. We're here to support you all through Core. The benefits. So total benefits. I do want to remind you that our inflation protection continues to grow even when a person's on claim. Our elimination period is 0 days. As an advisor or an agent, why I think this is so important to you is at the time of claim, it is typically not the client that purchased the policy that you're dealing with, it's going to be their children. And having to wait 60, 90, 180 days, depending on what other options have been selected in the past, the client or the client's children are thinking, you know, Mom or Dad put a large lump sum into this or paid premiums for a really long time. So just for the cohesiveness of your relationship, I love the fact that we have a 0-day elimination period. Clients can go on and off claim. They do have to meet the 90-day expectation that it's expected that they will need care for 90 days. If they go on claim and only receive care for 45, we're still going to make that payment even if they didn't make it past the 90-day. Really take a look. If you're looking at the competition, really take a look and understand the definition behind the elimination period. I know some of the key competitors have some nuances on, you know, it might be a 60 or 90-day elimination period, but it has to be satisfied within a certain amount of time. Ours never has to be satisfied. It's non-existent. So our extension of benefits rider, total benefits remaining, if they go unclaimed, they use $100,000, let's just say theoretically, and there is $300,000 left, that will continue to grow the monthly benefit as well as the daily benefit. Residual death benefit does apply. Even once they've spent down their entire death benefit, they will have something to go to pay towards funeral expenses. It's typically not much, 5%, but it's a nice to have. So when it comes to hybrid planning and the claims process, I hope you're really intrigued and charmed by Silver Brick Road. But when it comes to Lincoln MoneyGuard, I love being able to say that we're 40 times bigger than the next key competitor. We have one product called MoneyGuard. However, there are many ways to customize and design it. I do believe in co-insurance. I believe that clients have a plan even if they don't have a long-term care plan, and that plan is 100% of their needed care is going to come from their portfolio or their pocket or their children. So really having a well-documented plan and showing them how MoneyGuard can, you're taking money from the left pocket and moving it to the right pocket and creating a much bigger benefit that is going to pay them either as a death benefit, as a long-term care benefit, or the cash value that's in the contract based on the return of premium. So you can flexibly design it. If you have a 45-year-old that maybe just saw mom or dad go through a long-term care situation and wants to take out a plan for himself, he can do up to a 20 pay. We have flexible payment options. Doesn't quite mirror traditional long-term care. We don't want it to mirror traditional long-term care. This is truly an asset-based solution. All right, so we are going to go through real quickly, excuse me while I switch screens. Of course, my mouse is behaving. Oh, good Lord. Did that just happen? Give me 1 second. I apologize. I was just in the screen. All right, so we're going to go on to Silver Brick Road. Well, this is quite embarrassing. And we'll walk through it. So there is an app for that. I downloaded it this morning and walked through it. I'll show it to you at the end. This site is basically, if you are a Facebook member, which my son recently told me so kindly that Facebook is for older people, Mom. Instagram is for young people. But the fact that it is online and it's communicating in the same way that we communicate day in, day out. The login for Silverbrick, if you would like a test run, if you would like to log in and try it yourself, reach out to Dan or myself, and we will absolutely give you the login so you can set up a temporary and show your clients what they will receive as part of their Lincoln MoneyGuard contract. As I mentioned, they get it at the time that they pick up the policy, about 30 days into it, they're going to have access. It doesn't have to be just for the clientele. If you look at the care circle, I set up a little bit before going into it, but I didn't want to put too much on here so that you could really see the benefits of Silverbrick. So the care circle, we're going to go into my Grammy's care circle. My sweet grandmother passed away last year at the age of 95. She lived in beautiful, sunny Southern California, close to my aunt, in an independent living facility. She lived on her own the entire time. She had a couple of really nasty falls, unfortunately, and when she did pass, my aunt had taken care of her, or helped out, assisted for about 11 years. There were times when my aunt needed to go on vacation or needed some help that we would go out and take turns. I live in Dallas, Texas. The care circle and what you have here is a single point of contact and reference for family members, people that you want to add into the care circle, whether it be community or the nurse. You can have the nurse log in as well if you've got a home health care nurse and you want daily notice. She will go here to invite others. Observations, here's the observation. Maybe you have a home health care agency. My uncle was sick with cancer not too long ago, and there was a home health care nurse that came in and helped out during the day so my aunt could continue to work. She would be able to go in and talk about what his activity level was, just get a report out there. The more information, the better. And forgive me if I have a little bit of a sense of humor on it. I know claims and long-term care can be a scary conversation, but the dynamics that come out when either a person passes away and there's money involved in the family can create drama. When there's a long-term care situation, it can create absolute tension, drama, emotional distress, frustration. I mean, all of a sudden you're taking care of an adult person who has their own idea on what life is supposed to look like and managing it into your day. The reality is long-term care planning is about taking care of the people who are going to take care of you. I believe that it's a gift. I think it is a love letter in a sense of, you know, I really want you to be there. I want you to manage my care versus provide my care. Silverbrick consolidates that for you. So I could go in here and add a picture of myself and my grandma, invite others. We can post an observation. Assessment, it takes you through step by step if you want to order an assessment, start a new assessment. I have my here as well. This is where I'm saying you can do more than just the insured. So if you had a couple that applied for coverage and maybe the spouse, the husband was declined, the wife was approved, this is still a tool that you could use if he or she ever needed care. Or maybe one of their parents now is starting to need care. The fantastic part about this is it's kind of like Hilton.com or Marriott.com, Better Business Bureau, all wrapped into one. You're able to go in and look for different services. So if I was looking for, let's say, assisted living, because nobody wants to go into a nursing home, I would put in my zip code, city, and then the proximity around where I want my mom or dad to be. So this is my mouse. I'm on my laptop, which I try with all my life to not ever have to use. It does work on an iPad, and like I said, there is a mobile app, but for all intents and purposes, my Lenovo is not loving me today. All right, search. It's going to pull up the facilities in the area. I live right here in Lantana, Texas, so I could go in and click. It's going to pull up the facility, Mayberry Gardens Assisted Living. It's right around the corner from my house. When you pull up the information, it'll give you a rating. It'll tell you what kind of services they provide. It's going to give you the number of beds, if there's rehabilitation care. So we're not going to go through each one of the care options, but all of the information that they have when it comes to licensing, if it's this one looks more like an independent memory care of Denton. You'll be able to go and search home health care, independent living. I mentioned my grandma and her living in Southern California. She lived in Virginia for 75 years of her life and moved to California to be close to my aunt once my grandfather passed away. It took us a while to find a CCRC, which is a continuing care retirement community that had independent living on the outside and graduated to have assisted living facility, nursing home, and memory care on the inside. She was able to stay independent, but we were able to find something that was beautiful. It was in touch with what she wanted, a community that she could be active, and the clients were active. So having a resource versus www.google.com at your fingertips that you can go in and kind of take a look at ratings, figure out if they provide dental care. It really is in-depth. Cost of care, there's a cost of care option on here as well. The library is one of my favorite places to go. We have the cost of care here, so similar to the one that everybody seems to like to talk about, genworth.com. /cost of care. Lincoln has their own where you can go in and see what the average cost of care is in the U.S. versus where you are specifically based on home health care, licensed nurses, skilled care, assisted living, etc. We're going to go back to the library here. All right, so articles, videos here. So it's an educational place for them to go to get help, and it is stressful. My grandpa was at home for the seven half of the 9 years, as I mentioned, and the first year he had a long-term care policy, but for whatever reason, my aunt and my mom tried to manage his care rather than triggering benefits, which was maddening for me. I just was frustrated because he paid for it for years and years. I dealt with rate increases conversations over Thanksgiving for years and years, and I felt like it was going to give him the freedom. He was becoming more unhealthy. He was becoming stinky and grumpy and ornery. And once we triggered the benefits and had a male home health care nurse come in, helping him with bathing and dressing, he didn't even need full-time care. He just needed somebody to help him and allow him to keep his dignity intact. His health actually got better. So after year 2, he started to improve, even though he was getting older and his body was starting to fail a little bit more. He was happier. He enjoyed his grandchildren. He enjoyed his children instead of being upset. So really having that the tie that binds, a way for you to be able to talk to your siblings. There's always one child that really takes the lead role in caring for mom or dad, or that's been my observation. But even with my mom and her twin and their brother who lives in Florida, that phone call coming in, how's mom, how's dad, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. I've never seen them as siblings so tense as during those first couple years of my granddad needing care. So by taking a look at Silverbrick, talking about it as an option when you're looking at MoneyGuard as a solution, it is a true claims concierge program. Expert help is the next tab here, where you can go through an evaluation, do the assessment, what kind of care. When you first log on to Silverbrick and you're setting up a profile, it asks questions. Do you need help assessing mom or dad or yourself? Do you need help finding an assisted living facility in your area? So it does profile you as it's building out the content. You can have as many profiles in here as you want. I hope none of you ever have to go through a situation where you're helping too many people at one time. But the registration login, if you'll shoot over an email to Allie or myself, my internal Dan Smith, and that's dan.smith, S-M-Y-T-H, at lfd.com. We'll send you over the demo website so you can take a look and walk through it yourself. The most helpful thing that I love that's all consolidated is having all of our claims resources dialed in here. So claims forms, the claims concierge, the coordination. It'll take you to our webpage. You can download everything, submit it. A coordinator will be in touch with you to get things going. We're really trying to make it easy. So similar to the transformation that you saw on the front end last year, we made some changes to our processes internally to make things easier to do business with us and speed up the process. We've cut about 7 days off of our turnaround time on underwriting and approving in the last 10 months. We are trying to make this process seamless for you all the way through. Have the resources while the person has the policy, help them with other aspects of their life. And here I'm going to back up and just kind of have a conversation. So this is what I think Lincoln has done with Silverbrick Road, and by giving us access before versus giving access after. And I did ask the question of one of the chief actuaries when I first came on board why that is. There is another carrier, Pac Life, I believe, that has Silverbrick, or maybe it's nationwide, I don't know, but it's at the time of claim. His answer was, by getting the family involved earlier, it makes the claim better for everyone. So the insurance company, of course, we're looking at risk, but the more involved a family is in caring for a loved one from the get-go, or starting to see warning signs and have resources to figure out where to go, and you know, do they need some informal care services? Do they need somebody just to come sit with them and give them a break on Saturdays and Sundays so they can go live life a little bit as a caregiver? It not only protects the insured, it's going to protect the people around them. I think it is innovation at its best, and that's why I love Lincoln is not out there offering everything to the world just to cover long-term care, and we don't want them to. I think that it's imperative in this industry that we really look for sound companies, we look for strong solutions, and give the tools and equipment and conversations to clients to help them make a good decision. So that's Silver Brick Road in a nutshell. Here's the mobile site if you want to download the app. I actually like the app better than my computer today for sure. So Care Circles is where you'll find it on the Apple App Store. You can put in a care plan, you can put notes, you can tie pictures to it, letting everybody know how mom or dad's doing. But if you've ever been a caregiver, and just think about, the average caregiver right now is a 49-year-old woman who's working and has children. That is exactly my demographic. And I watched 11 ball games for 3 kids over Saturday and Sunday. If I were having to add mom or dad or taking care of a family member on top of that, I just don't know that I wouldn't have enough minutes in a day. So ask yourself, who's your person? If something happened to your closest loved one and you were that primary point of contact, how would you manage it? What would have to change? Would these resources be effective? And so when you're sitting down with your clients and talking about long-term care planning, and notice I don't say insurance very often. Insurance is income. It's leverage where we're taking money and making a much bigger bucket. But the 2 questions, what's your plan and how are you going to fund it? And then identifying the funding mechanism, perhaps there's the middle market, and we're going to look at paying it on an annual basis. We have solutions for that. Maybe they have a lump sum that they want to transition from left pocket to the right pocket and create this huge bucket of money. We have that. The Lincoln MoneyGuard story is very simple. I've been very surprised, though, to sit down with agents and accounts who didn't realize that we had a way that we could carve it up and make it a 5-pay or a 7-pay or a 10-pay. We're excited to work with you. I hope that this demonstration wasn't too fragmented walking through it. It's very user-friendly. We are here to support you when it comes to long-term care conversations with clients. Core group, of course, they have us on speed dial. If you need help from a policy to front end, give us a call. If you need help on the claim side, give Dan or myself a call and we'll direct you in the right place. Now, when it comes to underwriting, Allie did mention that she has included underwriting. We are a simplified underwriting product, so it's an accept or decline based on a phone interview. I mentioned the transformation process earlier in just a few minutes ago, and us trying to streamline things. So before we had a ticket where you just submitted the ticket and we would call and do the phone interview, and many of the complaints or feedback that we received from advisors and clients was that the call was too long. If you submit part 1 of the application, we'll still call and do that phone interview and the cognitive assessment for your clients. If you go ahead and fill out part 2 of the application, which is the medical questions, some people say, don't want to do it, but if you go ahead and fill out part 2 and submit that, that's going to cut that call down to 15 to 20 minutes for clients. So gauge your comfort level on asking the medical. There's 2 questions I do want to point out if you decide to take part 2 of the application. One is osteoporosis. It says osteoporosis and height loss. And that question will be answered, yes, there's osteopenia or porosis, but there wasn't height loss. So that can cause a red flag and a decline. I just want you to be aware of that one. And there's also another question on stroke and TIA. If your client answers yes to either one of those, please make sure you reread it and they confirm what they're giving you. Prepare them for their phone interview. Have them pull all their medications together and make a list before the interview. Prep them for the cognitive call and let them know that they're going to ask them who's the president and what's their social security number. They're not looking for perfection. There's a 10-word memory recall where they give them 10 words, ask them to use them in a sentence, and then at the end, we'll ask them to repeat as many as they can. The big kicker is do not use a pen or paper. They'll give instructions at the beginning to not, and then at the end, they'll ask you if you use a pen and paper. Answering yes to that question is an immediate decline, and we will not do a retest for cognitive if that happens. Let your clients know we're not picking on them. We're not looking for perfection either. We're looking for about 4 out of 10 on the memory recall, and it's more focused on how they answer the questions versus the questions being accurate. are the answers being accurate? Alzheimer's and dementia, as I mentioned, 8 to 10 years, there's no cure. We're really trying to screen people that have cognitive issues. So with that, we are at 12:30, and Allie was taking any questions that you may have for me. My email is Carolyn Burgess. I'll put it in the chat box for you. But it's carolyn.burgess@lfd as in dog.com. My internal, Daniel Smith, DANIEL.Smith, SMYTH, @lfd.com. I'll have Allie send out our contact sheet afterwards. Love to have a conversation. Always open to help you with client appointments. I didn't mention the pre-screen. We have a pre-screen box that if you've got some medical issues that have popped up before you submit the application, go ahead and send us the basics or the specifics around what's going on with the clients. Get as much information as you can. If the person's had cancer, ask if it's, if it metastasized or if it's spread, if it's had any lymph node involvement, find out the stage. And if you'll send that to us, we can send it into our pre-screen box and find out if Lincoln's going to be a fit and get a preliminary indication of whether or not we'll be able to offer coverage. If we can't offer coverage, that doesn't mean that another carrier in the industry doesn't. So if we're not able to, I'm more than happy to help you figure out or work with CORE to figure out what's going to be the right solution for your clients to help them create a plan. So with that, I typically say at the beginning, I stay on the phone, call until I have one question. I would love to hear what you guys are interested in knowing more about. I've got a few extra minutes. And Allie, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Thank you so much, Carolyn. That was wonderful. I don't have any specific questions that are back in the chat box as of right now oh, somebody just popped one in. Yay. How would I get access to this recording? Oh, I can answer that. I'll take care of that one. I will be putting this up on the back end of the CORE website. So if you have a registration, it'll be your email and password. If you've already been set up, you should just be able to log in and click the link that will be sent to you in about 1 hour from now. That will get you right through to our webinars that have all been recorded back there. It's a resource for you to use. Any of our old webinars will all be back there. If you have not registered for the website, you just go to the upper right-hand corner, www.coregroupusa.com, and click register. A few short questions, just name, broker-dealer, etc., and I will approve you to have access to the back end of our website. So all of our webinars are there. Let's see if I've got any other questions coming through.
And Allie, I will send over to you the instructions to set up a temporary login so you can share it with the attendees on the phone.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. That would be amazing. Another question that just popped up, what percentage of new cases are approved using the new expedited underwriting process?
Very good question. And right now, if it is not submitted for a pre-screen, it's an 82% approval rate. So approve or decline. Now, the number of cases that are approved when we do pre-qualify is closer to 90%. So much lower decline ratio than the traditional long-term care space. I think the preliminary lets you set expectations, but 18% is our decline ratio currently. And many of those are postponements. So it's not a hard decline. It's maybe we have to wait 6 months. One of the things I'll just mention that I didn't quite understand until I spent some time on the phone with the head underwriter was injections. We have a hard time with injection, We have a no if you had an injection recently. And it's specifically injections, cortisone, I think is one of them, on weight-bearing joints. The reason for that is because we have a 0-day elimination period. So we look at it as we would rather somebody go ahead and get their, a lot of times they'll use injections to push off a surgery, a hip replacement, a knee replacement. We would rather them have that repaired and be bionic and then apply for coverage versus, masking the symptoms or the pain and wearing their joint out completely, which could end up being a more significant claim. But very good question. 82% accepted.
Awesome, thank you. Another question popped up. So I think what they're asking is if they've got a current client that has MoneyGuard, that maybe hasn't been set up on Silverbrick Road? Do they have access, and how would they essentially help their client get logged on and get all set up?
Yes, so I will send you, when you log on to silverbrick.com /Lincoln, it's going to ask you if you are have a promo code, which would be an advisor that has a demo site, or it will ask you if you're registering as a new user. They would need their policy number. It's going to ask for their date of birth, name, policy number, and then the policy number is what's going to Lincoln and Silverbrick communicate that that's the person that should have access. So even older contracts have access to Silverbrick.
That's wonderful. I think that that's what they were asking. And I just thought of an additional question, and you may have touched on it. Can additional users be added? So if I'm the policy holder, but I want to add my daughter or my husband, or, you know, is there any limit, do you know, to how many users can use my account and have access?
No, I mean, I haven't tried more than 10, honestly, but you can go in, you can add as many circles as you want. You would just go in to create a care circle, and then the invitees, you can add an entire list of email addresses if you want. You know, truly, you could turn this into your Facebook page, and just letting everybody know how mom or dad's doing, and, you know, really pulling in more resources to help you care for him or her.
Yeah, so that's awesome. No limit. Okay, cool. Let me see. I'm going to see if there's any other questions.
This is the information that it just asks for. It just asks for a relationship to the person, so it doesn't have to be a neighbor or a family member or a caregiver. So it really is flexible. We don't have anything specific to that policy inside this. It's, you know, that's HIPAA protected. This is just a place that they're able to manage.
I love it. Thank you so much. I don't see any other questions coming through, so I think we can wrap up a little early. And again, I think that you provided a lot of information, and if anybody needs to hop on a call, a lot of our relationship managers are very well versed, obviously, in MoneyGuard as well. So you can reach out to your relationship manager. You can really reach out to me, Allie Peters, or Carolyn is a great resource and help to us. So we thank you so much, Carolyn, for being here, and we appreciate everybody that hopped on the call and took time out of their day. Have a great one, everyone.
Thank you. Take care.